I don't know if everybody knows me. I'm Brian Alexander, and definitely not a nutritionist, not a dietitian or anything. I just know, I guess, nutrition from experimenting on myself and doing a lot of research. So we're talking about Paleo 101, kind of the basics, really high level overview. I have a blog that has links to many different articles and books that you can read, like Rob Wolf's Paleo Solution and Mark Sisson's Primal Movement. So the basic premise behind Paleo is evolution. So we've been evolving over millions of years, geared towards a specific diet, fresh meat, seafood, vegetables, fruits, nuts, and seeds. And 10,000 years ago, it was kind of like the advent of agriculture, population explosion to support civilization, but 10,000 years really isn't enough time for our bodies to have adapted to that kind of diet. And we're starting to see a lot more diseases like within that time frame. The main premise is grains, dairy, and legumes are really bad for us. They cause damage to the gut lining, gallbladder, build insulin resistance over time. So the more you eat it, the more resistant the body is to kind of using that insulin or breaking down the insulin. And opens doors for autoimmune diseases, cancer, infertility, MS, lupus, autism, and depression. Any disease that you can think of has its roots in inflammation, and grains cause inflammation. So it links you back to that. So grains make us fat as well. And the grains today aren't like what the grains were 50 years ago, like your grandmother's bread that she used to bake. Again, it causes increased insulin production, which is bad. Too much insulin is bad. We need like just the right amount. Insulin also causes fat accumulation, so eating fat doesn't cause you to get fat. Actually, too much insulin causes you to retain fat. Grains today, like I said, are not your grandmother's bread that she used to make. They contain scientifically engineered, it's like a break wheat. So super starch, super gluten, and it's basically a super drug, so it's very, very addictive. 2 slices of whole wheat bread now raise your blood sugar more than 2 tablespoons of sugar, which is, kind of a telling sign. And again, it all kind of gets back to the main problem, inflammation, and they're also highly addictive. So the Twizzlers that Bob was eating, he said he can't get enough of them. That's corn syrup.
I'm not eating Twizzlers.
Everything that you really don't want to eat is in that, but corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup is in almost all the foods that we eat right now, or at least, processed foods. So the goal behind the 30-day challenge is to get back to the basics and kind of go natural. You want to stick to grass-fed beef, cage-free, free-range chicken, wild-caught fish, fresh fruits, so organic fruits, vegetables, and then nuts and seeds. Peanuts are not, for anybody who doesn't know that, it's a legume, and most people have peanut allergies anyway, but try to stick to almonds, walnuts, cashews are actually seeds, but they're good as well. So the whole goal behind the 30-day challenge is to eliminate dairy, all dairy, eliminate all legumes, and eliminate all grain. And really just kind of gauge how you feel. You're going to feel tired probably at first. Your body's not really going to know where to go to get energy. You've been feeding it like a superficial source of energy through your carbs. But we've been evolving over millions of years, like I said, to really use fat as energy, not those carbs. What else is there? I mean, that's
why
kind
do
of
you want grain-fed versus
why do you want what?
grain-fed meat?
Why don't you?
No, why do you want grain-fed meat versus, grass-fed meat versus grain-fed meat?
So cows aren't designed to eat grains either, or corn. By the way, a lot of the fish that you find in supermarkets, farm-raised fish, they feed them corn now instead of what they're supposed to eat naturally. And especially in cattle, grains just cause the cattle to get fatter quicker. It's just, I don't know, it's just not natural for the cows to eat it. We're eating what the cows aren't supposed to be eating by eating the cows. The bad cycle all the way around. So you want to stick to grass-fed whenever you can. And not to mention all the hormones that they're kind of pumping the cattle nowadays. So.
And then the grass-fed meat has a higher ratio of omega-3s.
Right.
That's part of one of the concerns, I think, with omega 6 to omega 3s was 2 to 3 to 1.
So it used to be, yeah, it used to be 1 to 1 or 1 to 2 for omega 3 to omega 6. Now it's like 1 to 10, 1 omega 3 and then 10 omega 6. And that's a big problem.
Because you want more omega 3s than you want omega 6s.
Yeah.
Right.
Because omega 6 is actually
It contributes to inflammation.
yeah.
Right.
Can you just throw out some examples of omega 3s and omega 6s for everyone?
Yeah. So omega 3s would be grass-fed cattle. Yeah. Wild-caught salmon. Or most wild-caught fish have a lot of omega 3s. Almonds. So I think eating too much almonds. Are you?
I think the almond nuts almonds are not. Most of the nuts are higher in omega 6.
Higher than omega 6, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of have to keep that even.
So they should be like viewed as a condiment, not like a primary source.
Right.
Chia seeds.
What is that?
Aren't chia seeds omega 3?
I'm not sure.
I'm not too sure about that.
And chia is not. I think they're great.
Yeah, and I can always email like a list of a little research and figure out what's higher in omega 3 than omega 6. But you're just definitely much better off.
If they're
If
they're pasture or
pasteurized,
yeah,
from pasteurized chicken.
pasture fed. Then what about fish oil?
So fish oil, I don't personally take it as a supplement, but you definitely can. And there's proper amounts to take. I don't know what those amounts are. I try to get all my nutrients from food, but
So fish oil, I think the rule is like they say 2 to 3 grams of omega 3s per day. So not just fish oil. So look at the bottle.
Look at the DHA and
EPA. So
EPA,
you want to have
yeah.
DHA and EPA. I think even if possible, but those are the ones that have to be
combined. You want those?
to be 2 to 3 grams at least. That's like a bare minimum.
CrossFit suggests 3 to 5.
Oh yeah.
right. So, but you can imagine from like a daily diet, I mean, people just aren't getting enough omega 3s at all.
I think the latest American Heart Association recommendations are at least 2 grams for anyone that has any cardiac history. So that's where I think I go to 2 to 3. I think 2 to minimum. So if you have like any high blood pressure, you have any in your family, I would say you should probably be on 2 grams a day of omega 3.
Of what?
Omega 3s from foods or a supplement.
So if you eat fish, probably you don't need to take a supplement, but if you don't, then you might want to take a supplement.
And I think the key for the 30-day challenge is really like stick to it 100%. After the challenge, you can open it up if you like it, do 80-20. If you don't feel better, which I doubt that will happen. I mean, it's never fails every time. People just feel amazing. They just don't realize how good they can feel until they cut all the dairy and beans and grains out. So.
On the grains, is it the Franken wheat that's so bad for you? Like, what do you make your own bread?
That could be fine.
You get the right wheat.
Right. So where do you get like the wheat? The wheat usually comes from like one major source and kind of channels down. But you could make so paleo-friendly bread would be almond flour or coconut flour. There's a ton of recipes out there. I have some on my blog. She's updating. Her wife is updating. But but like I said, after the 30 days, you could open it up. Like when I cheat now, I just do like gluten-free stuff. So I go to like Lewis's Bakery right next to and we do gluten-free pizza once in a while, or gluten-free desserts. It's amazing. But now, once you cut it all out, and if you go back and have like Illuminati's pizza, you will feel horrible, and that's how you feel all the time. You're just kind of you're numb to it.
I like that you use Illuminati's as your example. I hate you right now.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the overview. I've seen a huge transformation just from physical appearance, but the way I feel, like energy levels are just constant from the minute I wake up until I go to sleep. I don't drink coffee anymore. I don't have crashes like up and down energy. just constant. I feel good all day. So.
When you're doing a paleo diet, can you drink coffee or no?
Yeah, you could. I mean, if you're not gonna need it, but if you have that kind of habit, do black coffee, don't do cream, don't do sugar.
Try to get your sleep.
Yeah, sleep's very important. There's more scientific reasons behind it, but if you don't sleep enough, your stress levels are up, and it makes you hungrier actually throughout the day and eat more. So you definitely want to try to get recommended 8 to 10 hours of sleep.
And for your workouts as well.
Yeah.
That's free recovery time for your body to really repair itself. So make sure you're getting plenty of sleep.
Yeah, and I think my biggest fear with doing CrossFit, because I actually started doing CrossFit 2 months before I started doing paleo, and I was a big grain guy for like a decade. I'm like, I need carbs for energy. How am I going to get through a workout? But your body just adapts to it, and you perform better without the carbs. So it's kind of it's hard to go against conventional wisdom that you can like learn all your life. Like milk is good, grains are good, everything that you think is good really isn't that good for you.
So what are a couple of like representative meals that you might have in a week?
So breakfast we would say egg muffins. Like I just make like I take a muffin sheet and I just mix scrambled eggs, vegetables, say like bell peppers, kale, and maybe like just bacon. I cook bacon for 20 minutes and just kind of take those as breakfast. Lunch I usually just do leftovers from the night before. So make a little extra and just pack it up, bring it to work. And then dinner, I mean, it's always going to be a ton of vegetables and just any kind of meat. So grass-fed meat, chicken, wild-caught salmon, fish, whatever you want to do there. Then, stir-fried vegetables, roasted vegetables. There's a ton of options. It sounds so limiting at first, but the more resourceful you are and the more you kind of research it, the better the food tastes, the more options that you have.
There's actually a ton of blogs out there for if you need recipes. There's a ton of them.
And on my blog,
Google Paleo,
Pinterest.
Right. What is it?
It's a Pinterest.
Pinterest, yeah.
Yeah, Pinterest too.
On my blog, I actually put a couple really good blogs that have a ton of recipes, and I also put it's a 30-day grocery for the 30-day challenge. It's the grocery list, and then every meal is planned out for you. You just click on the meal for breakfast, tells you the ingredients right there. So it gives you the grocery list and the meals and the ingredients that you need.
Is your blog linked to the CrossFit site here?
Yeah.
It's posted. It's posted on there today.
Put it on. It's probably the most recent post, and all the supporting like articles and 2 really good books. Like I said, are Rob Wolf, the Paleo Solution, and then Mark Sasson's The Primal Blueprint. And it sinks in better the more you learn. It's kind of like a double-edged sword because the more you learn, the more you're kind of like freaked out by like, oh my god, the world's really messed up.
Like Rob Wolf, I think he actually saw something he was saying, like he'll tell people, like, have you ever had a salad with meat on it before? Have you?
Yeah.
That's paleo.
Right.
Have you ever had a dinner where you had like a steak, some vegetables, maybe
Sweet potato.
a sweet potato or something like that? Like that's paleo. Have you ever had bacon and eggs? That's paleo as well, but
Right.
it's not.
Well, so bacon's another huge thing. You probably saw like the most recent articles or studies that came out that said red meat kills, but it's processed red meat is the biggest culprit, but they don't specify if it's nitrate free and uncured. So like bacon, nitrates are really the bad thing in processed meats.
And the article was like very poorly done. If you
Right.
read it in the good criticisms of it, like they say that the groups are the same, but the group that also ate the most processed meat also smoked the most and it was the most overweight.
And there's also something where, right, it starts. There's also a huge variable where if you eat the paleo way and you eat foods higher in fat, even saturated fat, as long as you eat those without carbs, and I don't know the exact science, I have the articles behind it, but the carbs combined with the saturated fat is what kills you. It's not just the saturated fat.
What about things like Cliff Bars and Balance Bars?
I don't believe in those. Cut those out. It's just insulin. Right. Anything that'll spike your grains, right? It's gonna spike your insulin, and then you're gonna crash right afterwards. So you get a little like high almost, and then you just crash right after. It makes you hungry. It makes you crave more food. You end up eating more, and your energy levels just are up and down all day. So.
Can you speak to that, like how when you switch to paleo, you're going to make that transition from like getting your energy mostly from glucose and then from
Right. So in the beginning, your body's not really going to know where to go for energy. Right? Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah.
So the first week or two, you're probably not going to feel 100% good. It's kind of like weaning yourself off of a drug. Your body's going to learn to not go for that superficial source of glucose and then search for like a stored fat. So if you picture like a gas tank, I don't know if I can do this. So just picture this is your gas tank and this is your stored fat right here. Most people keep filling their gas tank up with carbs right here, and you're never going to be able to get to the stored fat to burn it as energy and lose it. So the more you actually fill this gas tank up, by the way, and if you don't burn those carbs as energy, they add another layer of stored fat. So you're getting higher and higher from getting down to the root of the problem. You want to lose fat. So if you cut all that out and you live on carbs, but you're getting your carbs from fruits and vegetables, 50 to maybe 150 grams per day, depending if you have like weight loss goals or if you're really active. Most Americans probably have like eat an average of like 300 grams of carbs per day. So they think they're eating healthy by having oatmeal in the morning, maybe like a pajama juice smoothie with like 100 grams of carbs, whole wheat turkey sandwich, and then potatoes and meat at night. Probably like 300 grams of carbs, and you're just never, aside from the health risks there, you're just never going to get to the stored fat and lose weight, kind of spinning your wheels. And I did that for like 10 years. On my blog, I was running every morning, probably three hours a day in the morning, and then 10 miles on Saturdays on the weekend, and then I'd work out during lunch, like lift weights, and nothing was happening. I was getting like fat, like what is going on? And then I finally signed up for CrossFit, and like I need to change. I've worked out that same routine for like 10 years, got old. Paleo is to nutrition, kind of like what CrossFit is to exercise. It's just the most efficient way to get results.
So what if you don't want to lose weight? Or is it as it is?
So Sean kind of alluded to that. It kind of gets you just to like your natural state of being. Like I'm never going to be 180 pounds and solid muscle. It's just not natural. I can eat in a certain way to get there, but you have to maintain that way of eating forever if you want to keep it. Otherwise, you're just going to drop right back down. So you're not really going to lose weight, I would say. You're definitely going to get leaner. You're going to gain more muscle mass. But I wouldn't say you're going to lose weight unless your body type needs it.
Do you have any problems with allergies or anything like that? Yeah.
All my family does. Yeah, we don't have dairy. We don't have gluten. So we're gluten-free, dairy-free, peanut free.
Yeah, so these are right there.
Yeah, already there. We do have rice, so we have rice milk or hemp milk. We're trying to switch to hemp milk. It tastes nice.
So there you go. The funniest thing is I thought like white rice was the worst kind of rice, but it's actually whole grain rice that is worse for you than white rice. I used to yell at my wife all the time for eating white rice. I'm like, you gotta eat whole grain. I was killing my wife. But I think my wife's a perfect example of she would eat bread, pasta, rice every day, and she didn't think she could give it up. Finally, she kind of just tried it and eased into it, but now like I don't think you really miss it too much. You'll cheat here and there, but you don't feel like great after you cheat, right?
No, I actually cheated and tried Chinese food for the first time in like a couple months, and I was actually really hungry, so I thought it would be awesome. But then after 10 bites in, I'm like, oh my god, I feel like that. And you don't notice how bad you feel until you actually lean all that stuff out.
Right.
And then you eat it again after a couple months, and you're like, holy crap, this is not good.
Yeah.
Like your body is totally just rejects it. It's not what you're supposed to be eating.
Yeah. You kind of like get through life in like a fog, and once you cut her off, you like this is like what living is. It's a difference between like living and like thriving. You feel great all day. Jack, any comments? Questions?
Jack is definitely not paleo.
Jack, are you paleo?
Baby food.
Jack says I eat whatever they feed me. And we feed him whatever he eats.
So what do you you shop usually for this stuff? Because I know Jewel, you could foot the bill of $600 shopping like this.
So yeah, that's the other thing. The biggest, I guess, issue or concern people have is the cost of it. I go to Whole Foods. I spend $200 a week, but it's for me and my wife, and we kind of broke it down. It sounds expensive, but it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and I have a juicer, so I drink like juice before I work out and after I work out. So all that combined is $200 a week divided by 2 people. It breaks down to like $4 a day per person. It's all wild caught, grass fed, and all organic vegetables and fruits. So $4 a day is like nothing we spend on like a frappuccino, you know. That's the high level. And like I said, the books are great. My blog has a ton of articles that kind of support it. All the recipes, the grocery list is on there. So it's a good kind of landing spot for kind of searching out and doing your own research. But I do recommend that you just research it and don't kind of follow blindly, like what I'm saying or what Rob Wolf would say. You just kind of see if it makes sense by yourself. Like you're really going to just see how good you feel by doing it. You'll probably end up sticking with it unless just go back to eating normal.
So, I mean, depending on your goals with this, there are certain choices you can make
Right.
that will, kind of maximize what you're trying to get out of it. So, if you're trying to gain weight, like you need to start putting away a lot more calories, and that means having, like cook up some bacon, dump 6 eggs in the pan, and then stir in a bunch of broccoli as well.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you're gonna have to eat a lot bigger, but you can do it within this template. That's not a problem. Yeah, you're just gonna have to eat more if you're really serious about gaining weight.
But it's gonna be slow. I mean, any kind of weight gain that you want as a positive thing has to be slow and sustainable. It can't just be gain 10 pounds because you'll lose it that quickly. And then if you lose 10 pounds quickly, you're probably gonna gain it back that quickly.
And then again, if your goal is to lose weight, the best thing you can do is try to stay away from those glucose sources like really sweet fruits. All of like you can't buy out 100% paleo and then just eat.
Can't eat sweet potatoes all day.
You can't eat sweet potatoes all day and almonds and
Exactly.
strawberries and be like, okay, what's happening? I'm still fat.
Right.
If you're really trying to lose weight, the best thing to do is to stick with that first template is just eat meat, seafood, eggs,
Chicken.
blah blah blah, and greens. And I would even say sparing the nuts and seeds
Yeah.
until you reach your weight loss goals, and sparing on fruits and seeds and nuts.
Yep.
So just like if you're really serious about it, because it will work. Stick with the meat. I cook with a lot of olive oil. That's a really good source of fat.
Coconut oil.
Coconut oil too, yeah.
Oil is another one. And yeah, until you reach your weight loss goals, and then you can introduce those foods that, like the really sweet fruits and other things, kind of fold it back into your diet. But yeah,
Right.
if you're skeptical about paleo, try to rewind back to when you're thinking about getting into CrossFit.
Yeah.
And like, oh, this is crazy, but it kind of goes back to that whole evolution aspect. We're doing functional movements in here, doing things the body was designed to do, and now we're going back to a diet that our caveman ancestors lived on. So I just think of it from that aspect. There's something in all of us that made us come to the gym in the first place. Why not try to jump to the diet that fits with that lifestyle?
Yeah.
Because I read the Primal Food
Oh, okay.
this week, and he talks about fasting. The intermittent fasting. Have you been doing that at all?
No, I don't do that personally, but we can. I mean, our ancestors didn't have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They didn't, walk around for a day before they ate. So you can actually do it. You can thrive and you can live off the stored body fat. But I don't personally do it. I just because I'm pretty active here as well.
There's a lot of benefits you can gain from that, but again,
That's like a more advanced.
I would just dive into this lifestyle first, make one big change,
Right.
and then when you're stalling out and you're like, oh, I'm not quite where I want to be, then you can take a day fast, like on
Right.
Sunday, or you can implement 16-8 or 16 and 8, where you eat for an 8-hour period and then fast for 16 hours.
Right.
Just really sustainable. I've been trying that out, and you kind of learn to deal with hunger pains. And but again, just stick with paleo for a bit.
I'd say it's a different kind of hunger though. Like the hunger you get when you eat carbs is like very severe. It's like she calls it hangry, hungry and angry.
Angry and hungry.
But this is like you can eat, but you don't have to eat. Probably if you have a glass of water, you'll be full. Kind of thing.
Picture
Between meals.
like a drug addict that wants like more of whatever
Well,
they're
right.
addicted to.
The more often you eat carbs, and
Or Twizzlers.
right, or Twizzlers,
This guy.
sugars, carbs, the more you're gonna want them, right? So your body's like craving for them. And it's like it's you don't feel good without it. Drugs, cigarettes. I mean, you can imagine any kind of addict. It's the same exact thing. But if you cut them out, you get past that, maybe like 2 weeks weaning off of the drug, you start to feel a lot better, and you don't get that craving. Like I don't really care. I've been doing it for about 6-7 months now, and if like I said, if I cheat, I'll try gluten free, but maybe it's some dark chocolate here or there. But I don't crave like anything that Illuminati's pizza. Or I don't crave it at all anymore. Like I don't know. You just don't need it. But if I had a bite of it, I'm sure that craving would come right back. You want to know.
When you start eating lots of good fats and adding that to your diet, you're going to be more sated and just
Right.
you're not going to be starving throughout the day. This morning I had 4 eggs and 3 pieces of bacon with no nitrates, uncured, like good stuff, and cage-free eggs with omega whatever in it. And I shop at Whole Foods too. I spend $80 a week because I just eat 3 big meals after I work out, and then I'm fine.
Yeah.
But I have a problem with cheating. That's what my challenge is. This month I'm gonna not cheat and actually give it a chance. So, but yeah, I'm in full support of the paleo thing, especially with CrossFit. It's made a huge difference.
Yeah.
So what about alcohol? I know you were writing on your blog like you used to drink beer all the time. Is that the
Yeah.
hardest thing to cut out?
It was. I mean, it's a lifestyle. It's a habit. I actually did that before I started CrossFit. This is a change that I needed. But beer, a ton of gluten, so it's actually highly addictive as well. There are paleo-friendly liquors. I would say during the 30 days. Right. During the 30 days, you're definitely best off not, if you could. But if you have to, maybe like red wine would be the best bet, or
Oh, you
tequila.
can still drink red wine or tequila.
So in limited quantities. So red wine's still sweet. It still will cause your body to produce insulin. So 1 glass, 2 glasses tops would be ideal, not a whole bottle or
Don't
anything.
get wasted.
Right.
What about this?
And like 45 hours.
I don't know much about the gluten-free
It should
beer.
be
So
like
I have one.
Tastes like
I don't
garbage.
drink that much either.
Yeah.
But if I do have a beer, I usually get the gluten-free stuff.
okay, I'm sure it's way better. I mean,
It tastes just like regular.
does it really?
Really?
Okay.
You don't really.
I bet it tastes pretty bad.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Gluten-free beer.
But the alcohol should be like 5 hours before you sleep, because I think the paleo solution is talking about how it impacts like growth hormone or something. It doesn't let you release it, so you don't sleep.
It'll impact your sleep too, in general.
Right.
So you normally release. How do we do?
I try to wait till 6. Now I'm gonna have to back out.
So you might as well just start drinking before work.
When you're driving home, open that bottle.
Right. Early and often. Right? But so the 30-day challenge is going to be basically, we'd like to do 3 winners: best before and after picture, best quality food journal, and we're trying to debate maybe biggest percentage of body weight lost if people don't feel comfortable with like measuring their body fat. So we want to do 3 winners. We want to make it, I don't know, we want to make it a little more open to everybody to have a chance to win something. And the gift card's it's going to be a gift card. the winners are gonna get a gift card to Rogue Fitness and some like CrossFit Wilmette gear. That's
Anybody
it.
else?
When does this start?
April 2nd.
So what do you have to put in to sign up? Like,
No
what?
cheating.
Choose
No
one of the
cheating.
3 categories. Do you have age groups?
So no age group.
There should be an age group.
20 years ago, it would have been just easier.
Yeah, so we're gonna want people to tell, whoever's gonna do it, let us know, and we'll obviously keep track of everybody. We'll have a sign-up sheet.
But she wants to
You
know
have
what are
to-
the
but I have
criteria.
to know, like,
She wants to know what do you have to do.
I mean, are the pictures mandatory? Do you really have to?
Or you can just do it for yourself if you want. I mean, and not do the contest to win something.
So basically, we're looking for like a before and after picture to show your progress over the 30 days.
Right.
And then we're looking for like a food journal, so you would kind of write down what you've eaten every day, just like you do with your workouts.
Yeah.
So if you want to do that journal in your workout book or something, or you could have a separate one. I think Beyond the Whiteboard, for those of you who are on it, actually has a section for food. So that would be a possibility as well.
And it forces you to be conscious of what you're putting in your body. If you have to write it down. It's good exercise.
So did you notice a big difference within 30 days in terms of the way your body looked? Because typically it's 6 weeks before you even notice any sort of.
Yeah, so I mean, you're not gonna. You could probably see like if anybody read the blog, like it was 2 months was like a pretty good difference between CrossFit and Paleo, but the big difference was from like September of 2011 until last month.
Okay.
Big contrast. But the hope is that you start the 30 days and you feel so good, and you start seeing the results and you stick with it.
So you'll start to see.
You start to see
Yeah,
some results.
30 days is the.
Especially if you want to keep the fruits and nuts minimal. Doing CrossFit alone while having nothing else in your system except for stored body fat, it's going to burn off pretty quickly. It's not going to, not a miracle, but the harder you work in here, it's just going to complement what you're doing on nutrition.
Yeah, if you want to gain weight, you better start eating.
Yeah,
It's like a lot.
I lose weight just sitting here. I probably lost like 4 pounds.
It's hard to gain.
Yeah, thanks. Everyone wants to kill you right now.
It's a curse.
Yeah.
Well, does anybody have any questions about foods, like things that they're not sure about in the diet, like what they can include? Or is it pretty clear?
I think if you think about what you just exclude, it's probably simpler.
Yeah.
Just grains, dairy, and legumes.
And sugar.
Sugar, right?
It's not
The
on there.
processed.
So you think sugar?
I should put sugar.
Yes.
I thought it was.
No sugar.
Sugar turns into fat, right?
But
Yeah.
Right.
So you don't want that.
Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't do artificial sweeteners either,
Oh, right.
because
It screws with your hormones.
anything that you put in your mouth that is sweet is gonna cause your body to dump a bunch of insulin, and then it will do the same thing as if you were eating the carbs in your diet.
Right.
So, again, get your satisfaction in your meals from the amount of fat you're having, the amount of good quality meat and vegetables. And again, you shouldn't be starving when you're doing this. You should be sated.
But in the beginning, it's going to feel weird. It's not going to feel great.
Give it the 30 days.
Right.
Isn't there something like you can have like high quality butter and?
Yeah, so in more limited quantities as well, but clarified butter or ghee butter, it takes the dairy, the milk out of it.
Or like, isn't there like a cream too? Or
I don't know about a cream.
Coconut cream.
Is there? Okay.
Coconut milk, coconut.
You can
yeah.
get it at Whole Foods.
Okay.
But, so I want to understand, are you doing the whole 30 list of foods that are okay to eat, or
That's a great guideline.
so use that one?
That's on my blog as well, the Whole 30 Challenge.
But in
That's what it
terms of
means.
what's legal and what's illegal?
Yeah, do
Okay.
that. Put it on the blog.
So it
That-
clarifies.
Like we're not reinventing the wheel.
Right.
That's a great guideline.
What is it?
The Whole 30
Whole 30.
Challenge.
The whole 30, what is it?
it's like
Well,
a blog.
It's a blog, and they're the ones who came up with
Really good.
to
put
do
together
the
program
30-day.
for the 30-day challenge.
And for that, you
Oh,
can't
like a
have
template, like something you just
clarified.
follow every day?
You can have butter.
Right.
Grass-fed butter.
Right, clarified.
Kerrygold, that you can get it at most stores.
Well, you don't want to be, a jerk about it.
No.
So what do you drink during the day aside from water?
Just water. I mean, personally, that's all I need. But you can have black coffee or tea.
And red wine.
Green tea.
Red wine.
Okay, so you're talking to a so what am I looking at? Water.
Water. Yeah.
Great.
I mean, everything has it's just way too much sugar in it. So that's gonna.
What do you
affect
use
it.
your juicer for then?
So I use it for prior to when I wake up. I do the 5:45 class. I'll make vegetable juice with kale, an apple, romaine lettuce, carrots, and
Peppers.
peppers. So I'll have that before I work out. Work out on an empty stomach.
It's
and then
actually really good. Like that one apple is that much
I think it's good.
better than, like, the
You can't eat as many vegetables as you can juice, so it's a good option. But on the flip side, you never want to juice fruit because you can eat like 10 fruits in a juice, and that's way too much sugar. Yeah. And it sounds corny, but it's not like this isn't a diet. It's kind of like a lifestyle overhaul. So big commitment, but it's worth it.
So what's in your water bottle right now?
So this is actually pre-workout stuff that I had from before, and it's amino acids, and then caffeine. So it has like caffeine and amino acids, and it's just for energy like before I work out. Probably not the best, like you could probably you can do without it, but this is the most natural energy drink that you can have. I know.
I'm gonna stop. For the 30-day challenge.
For what?
For the 30-day challenge, like protein shakes.
The best thing you guys can do after your workouts though is to have a big, good paleo meal. A lot of, especially if you load your carbs of the day right after your workout.
Right.
And then so if you're dying to have that piece of fruit or whatever it is, the high carb, no food, have it after your workout. And also limit fat in that meal because fat actually delays glucose from I don't know what I'm saying. But yeah, it's into the fat.
And then I'll send my contact info. Like I said, I'm not a nutritionist, but I've done a lot of research, and I can kind of just be like your liaison if you have questions. I'll send you the links that I have or information that I have. Make it easy on you guys. Thanks.
Thank you.